Oh,
Oh, hang
well,
on a second. I'm not sharing my screen.
madness.
Um,
So the purpose of the webinar today is really to, if you're brand new to BrowSEO and you just came in on a lot of these affiliate marketing and other campaigns, you may see the tool and wonder how to use it. Um, More to the point, like the direct functions of using the tool. So that's the purpose of this webinar. I'm going to try to keep it down to 45 minutes. It's 11:15 now, so I want to be done by 12 to respect Simon's time for doing this for us and then respect your time for showing up. So um, I have the question bar inside of GoToWebinar. It's okay, so make sure you just put questions in there related to function of how something works. No strategy stuff, because if we get Simon in the strategies, we'll be in here like 3 hours later and you still won't know how to use something. Okay, so I have the questions from the Facebook group, Simon, and then I have a couple of my own, and then we have the live questions coming up too. So I think we
okay.
should be able to answer all of the basic functions so that they can get the usability out of this thing before we get into strategy stuff later down the road. Is that good with you?
Yeah, sounds good. Perfect.
All right, let me hit session is being recorded. That's good. Okay, so I think looking at the Facebook group and the number one thing that's going on that we probably should just go ahead and knock out and end the madness for altogether is proxies and the anonymous percentage.
Right, right. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. It's like the Boogie Monster, that one.
Exactly. And now I've been telling people, and in my opinion, I really don't even mess with it anymore. You added all those cool features in there, but like if I turn off something and I can't access a certain page or whatever, so I don't even bother with it anymore. And I still doesn't mess with my accounts. And then there's other people that say we should have 100%. So
Yeah.
finally, like a definitive answer from you, what should be we worried about with the proxy percentage?
Well, I think it's mostly for account creations than anything else that these things are used for because that's where the most flags that they're going to be looking for are. They're going to look for automation. They're going to want to see if if you've got anything that's automating it, looking for key presses and all that kind of stuff. So it's the sign up, and when they look at the sign up, they're going to be really scrutinizing you. But when you're just coming back and logging in, it's not really something that you need to be worrying about. And sometimes, and if it's really, you're doing mass account creations, which is really not what BrowSEO is for, then, sometimes it helps having more anonymity, like mass account creations, then it could help, like changing canvas fingerprinting. But I personally, just like you, Clint, very, very rarely mess with it. I only mess with it when I find that it could be, I just want to test and see if it makes a difference, and sometimes it does. And I don't know if it's that or if it's just a refresh, or you never really know. But they're there because there are times where you can use them to see if it's making a difference. But I'm not really that crazy about worrying about it. The main thing is to have the WebRTC off, and that's it really. If you're using Chromium, if you're using the Chrome browser, there isn't even Flash there, so we don't even have those vulnerabilities in the Chrome version in BrowSEO. We've gotten rid of Flash altogether. Flash is like the biggest discrepancy, the biggest what is the not discrepancy, the biggest problem. Like it's the easiest thing for them to look through. But they don't really, it's not something they actively look at. So I don't really want to say 100% is not important, 80%. There isn't really a figure. It's just they're there just for account creations. If you're worrying them, if you run into problems, then you can mess with those settings. That's the most important. For just logging in and doing normal stuff, it's not really something I've ever actually seen have any effect on my account. So, you know, that's kind of, I think, you know, that's where we are with it. It's not much that you need to it's like an overthinking kind of a thing and worrying too much about these little things that, and also Whoever itself, according to the developer, it's really badly coded, like really badly coded. So there are a lot of other sites that work a lot better than that. So Whoever in itself is a really terrible site to use for this kind of a guide. But in any event, we have it working within Whoever, and you can get 100%. If you want to go and spend the time to do it, then do it. It's personal preference in the end. If you're really worried about it, then it takes a few minutes. You go and do it. But I like Clint says, I haven't really found any issues and major needs to constantly be worrying about that. So that's I think that should answer it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. There's just only so much you want to, stress over in what we do in SEO, and you listen to all the gurus and footprints this and footprints that, and personally, I'm tired of it. So I don't care if I'm 40% or 100%. If the website opens and I can use my account, then I'm happy. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, you know how much resources it's going to take for them to be probing every user that comes to their site and using JavaScript to probe a website because they're a little bit suspicious. It's just impossible. Their website will crash. That and they'll create. It's like creating a. It's probably like they're making their own DDoS attack, like having to probe every user in that way. I don't think it's like possible for every website to really do that. So it's really only on, like I said, why when I've run into issues with account creation, because then they can take a little bit more time on the sign up page and be a little bit more picky about the proxies and looking for things like key presses and maybe canvas fingerprints or maybe WebRTC when you're signing up to Gmail, Outlook, whatever. They
yeah,
could be. But the sign up, it's the sign up that you need to really worry about if there is anything to worry about. You know,
okay,
but yeah.
great. So if you're creating accounts, worry about it. If not, then just get busy. That's the way I see it too. So.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. I've been buying a lot of accounts from one or two, testing a few providers out. I'm not going to share them just yet. Maybe will, maybe I won't. But just also look for people that good providers that just create them for you and just import them in. You could even give them proxies as a little tip. Give them your proxies, authenticate them, de-authenticate them, tell them which one you used, have them send them straight through, and don't even worry about it. Let them worry about all the PVA themselves because a lot of the times they have their own solutions from different countries. Who knows?
yeah.
And you can always re-verify with the Russian IPs. Those are normally pretty much fines for that. But yeah,
And then one proxy related question before we go ahead and put that topic to bed is do you think it matters if Hoover says yes, it's a proxy?
I don't think that's really anything that I know Who are for sure. I mean, if Who are saying what they're showing there is that it's really not configured 100%. It's not configured correctly. So if a website is going to be actively checking whether or not the settings are set as proxy, then I don't know why they would do that because generally you can always tell when you're on a proxy. I mean, there's an open database and Google, Facebook, they're connected into all the ISPs. They know who the real ISPs are. They know which proxy ranges they have, and they know what's open and what's just a service center, just a data center that's just sending out IPs. They know that without even doing anything. That's part of it's there. It's part of their database. That's what they're doing the whole time. And at the same time, proxies are there in Google, in Chrome, in Facebook, in every browser to be used. So it's part of the web. They can't make it a problem. They're there. Look in Chrome, look in Firefox, in the actual settings, they're there to use proxies. And they give you an option to stick a URL where the proxies can change in Chrome and in Firefox. So, we're actually using settings that are provided to us by the browsers for whatever reasons, market research, viewing them from different angles, looking which ads are viewing and are showing, and all sorts of different reasons. So it's actually part of the internet. So I don't think that's anything to worry about. They already know it's proxy. Um, it just means it's misconfigured. I don't know. I don't think it's something to worry about really, unless they would be actively looking for something like that. I mean, what do you think then?
Well, full disclosure, I work with Neil over at Blazing SEO.
Right.
Kind of learn a new business, learn the proxy
Hmm.
business. He's been kind enough to kind of take me under his wing, so I've been helping him and learning a lot. And the configuration of proxies and all the technical stuff that's going on in the back end is seemingly complicated and boring at the same time. Uh, one thing I have learned though is like Hoover.net is depending on another website to get data, which is depending on some coding inside of your server, which is telling the IPs what it is, and etc. So it does start with getting them set up, but even after it's set up properly, it takes 3 to 4 weeks for all of these notification websites, even Aaron, to understand that you've moved the IP over, and it's
Right.
doing something else. So I really don't worry about it, um, if whether it says it's a proxy or not.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be a
Uh,
little bit more cautious if I was creating Facebook accounts or trying to create Instagram accounts with them. It's harder to get proxies to do that, but other than that, I wouldn't. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, Facebook have just started to do the Netflix. They've just Netflixed us. They basically, put together a whole database of IPs, and they know immediately if you're on if you're with an ISP, and if your IP is in any way flagged. It's just they've done that. They're looking for actively just not allowing you to sign up if you're on any kind of an IP that's a little bit sketchy. So Facebook or which is why we're going to have the marketplace release soon, which is going to be great for people that have got the solutions on how to just get the right PVAs all the time. And there are people that just specialize in this. So it'll be good to just let people worry about that, create them, profile them, and then just transfer them over to you, and you don't even have to worry about creating them anymore,
Yeah,
which is
I've always hated creating accounts. Though it's
me
mind-numbingly
too.
boring. So
I hate it. Yeah.
okay, so I think we've kind of killed that thing for now. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. There's nothing to. It's the two areas that are really like no one really knows about it, and I just learned pretty much a lot about how they work and are configured on the servers and Squid and all that kind of stuff that we use to get the Amazon solution working. And it's really, like you said, it's like the most boring technical stuff. My brother, the developer, was telling me about it, and I was like falling asleep. I couldn't even begin to start to understand what he was saying about servers and configurations and settings and everything. But I think if you think about what's going on there is they're looking at the IP. Oh, something that I found makes a difference with a lot of sites is having IP authenticated IPs, is having HTTPS authenticated IPs so that you're not using the username and password because the site can tell that you're authenticating using a username and password. And I found Twitter to make real issues when signing up or using it if you're authenticating using a username and password. So I've got rid of all my username and passwords. It's probably safer to get rid of them anyway and to just use IP authentication. It's safer and it's much less of a flag for these sites because they can tell that you're going through a barrier, you're going through a username password. It might be small, but they can tell there's a username password there if you're authenticating in that way. That's what I was told by the developer. And as soon as I changed and I was signing up to Twitter accounts, I didn't run into this problem anymore with the same IPs. So Twitter, you may have noticed, I've been a little bit funny lately. I don't know if you have, but we have, and that seemed to have been part of the problem.
yeah,
So
I
that,
buy my accounts by the thousands at Twitter, and it's just I only use IP authentication just because I don't have the patience to do all the um, adding the
yes,
username passwords to my different softwares and stuff.
absolutely. I mean, I think it does. It sends off some sort of a flag as well because it's got like a little wait before it does the username password before it hits the IP. So that's like, who does that? No one does that really. So
Let's
it senses
see.
it
Kim
somehow
Smith
apparently.
says because Comcast has a certain long IP. Actually, Kim, I'll go ahead and answer this question for her real quick. She's saying that Comcast giving her the IP. The long IP that you see is called IP6. It's like a crazy long 15, 20 digit number.
On
But if you go,
IPv6.
yeah, if you go to whatismyip.org, this is the only one that there's a lot of them, but this is the one that consistently pulls out a the IP4 number from Comcast. I use Comcast too, so that's what you need to use, and you'll get your actual number. Then you can get rid of that username password issue. All right, so
Yeah.
that proxy's done, finished. Next biggest thing is there's a couple people in the group that are having a lot of issues with this, and honestly, I've never even tried to bother using it because I put my software on a dedicated, and that is how in the heck do you set up your VA's license in here?
We do have on the. I know a lot of people have issues with this, but then also even more people don't have issues with it, and it's just a little bit technical. I have to say, we can go through it now, but the steps, because this okay, well, this is training, so we'll go through it now. But it is again in detail, cover all the steps in on the YouTube channel, and we're just updating the site as we speak. It's going to have a whole new design over the next week or two, and all the training is going to be taken from the YouTube channel and imported in a much more organized fashion onto the site. So it's going to be a lot easier and a lot nicer to use the members area, and it's all going to be much more organized over the next couple of weeks, and it's going to be redesigned to look like the new logo as well. So just a little bit behind on that. But the process is to create. First, you got to open up the BrowSEO task force. And then just go to users and add user. So that's the first process, is just you create the username and password, and then you put who you want it to be, the manager, if there's a manager. If there is no, if you want that person to be a manager, you just click that, so he'll have a managing role. If not, you want him to be under you, and then you just update, and it creates the user.
What's the difference between a manager? What can the manager do? They can edit everything, right?
Well, the manager will be the person who will be the go-between in between you and the other outsourcers.
Okay.
So she'll be managing your team, and you're managing her, and have control over all of them, and see everything that's going on from her to the team.
And she can add
So you
users.
can create managers, you can create team leaders, and you are in control of the team leader and the teams that the team leader creates.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah. That's how that one works. So we can do a test Clint, and testing. Let's just do test. Okay, and update, and then that just creates the user. You'll notice it's got like a notification. Oops, it's got a notification window up here. It shows everything that's going on. So once you've created that user, you then come here. The next process is to create a license file. And once you create the license file, you just give it the permissions you want it to. So if you want them to be able to see the proxies and change the proxies, otherwise it gets blocked off and encrypted. Allow them to create licenses, so a manager. Allow them to create projects, allow them to use the prospector, so RSS reader, that one, to use the PBN poster. So basically you want to give them the you can just choose whatever you want them to use depending on what their roles are and what kind of an outsourcer or VA they are, and then you give whatever you want them to do, click the user, create, and then you just download that to the desktop. Now, a bug that we found is that if you're using really encrypted passwords right now for the BrowSEO task force for your users, you're going to run into problems. Just use like normal shorter passwords. The system itself is using Amazon encrypted servers. I mean, it's already so encrypted, like you have nothing to worry about. And we're just transferring cash and stuff, so it's not really that. You don't need a ridiculous password. It's already crazy encrypted using Amazon, and it's not the Amazon normal system, it's the Amazon encrypted system using like really super fast setup, similar to the way Netflix is actually working, as I think they're also using Amazon. It's a very similar system. So it's totally encrypted. Just make easy usernames and passwords, and don't get too funny with the characters and stuff for now, and then you'll be fine. So we found that was the only problem actually when creating users, and we just learned this literally over the last week or so. But we haven't had any more than 1 or 2 people run into this issue since starting. So just for now, if you're running into any issues and the outsourcers are not working, the licenses aren't working, it's because of the password. It's too complex. Just make it nice and simple. 6, 8 letters, numbers and letters. You're fine. That's enough. Don't add any characters as of now. And that should cover pretty much all of the issues that you might be experiencing with the with creating license files. So it's just that process. You create the user in the task force, and then you give it permissions. So that's what we do. Go to browser, go to the task force, add user, close that, then just come back to create the license file, and then you do that. Give it the permissions you want. That's the one. And then you send that file, the license file, that we created over here on the desktop, wherever that is. It's a funny file. Where is it? It's this one, the license.browser. So it's this file here, browser license, and you send that along with the link to BrowSEO. And for now, I think just upload BrowSEO to your Dropbox or Google Gmail or something like that, and just share that link for now with the outsourcer, and then just give them the license file via Skype. It's a very small file. It's almost nothing.
It,
That
yeah,
should cover it, I think.
that makes the whole process a lot easier to understand.
Yeah,
I think it's just teaching it in text is kind of, makes it a little more complicated than it really is.
yeah,
Let me
yeah,
point out to everyone, Simon mentioned his YouTube channel before. A lot of the videos, you go over there and you're like, oh, those are old and we're on version 3, but this is version 1, and they did not change the interface like any. So you can get a version 1 video and use it on something that you see in version 3, and the process is still going to work. And it's a lot faster than beating up the support desk over and over again. So try the YouTube channel first, and I think you'll find that, I don't know, other than the new stuff, Simon, that you've added, is like 99% of it's all on that channel, right?
yeah, yeah. Because we have the only and besides that, you're right. The only thing that's going to be new are going to be new modules. And just we just like cleaned up the design a little bit in version 3 and added the automation. So yeah, everything, all the training works there. We need to just get a little bit of BrowSEO automation training out there, because it's also just a bit of how that was released is very, very bare bones. We're about to get really, really technical with it and how BrowSEO automates stuff. So you're going to have a lot more control over how the mass automation works. So right now there's very little control over the little parts, but it's good for automating general things like going and signing up, not signing up, but going and using Facebook to sign up to groups and to like pages and to just engage using communities and all that kind of stuff. But we're going to be adding some other things in there where you can do it much more organized and en masse, so much more randomly. So you can add, let's say, 100 keywords and then only pick, let's say, 3 or 4 unique ones per project, so that you're always using different keywords and you're not constantly going after the same groups and the same communities and the same fan pages and the same whatever it is that you're doing with the keywords. And if you're loading a bunch of links and fan pages in there that you want to go like, or groups that you're a member of and you want to go interact in there, so you could load, let's say, 100 groups and you have 10 profiles, you can pick, let's say, 3 groups per profile. So each profile is going to be going to totally separate groups, and there's no crossover, and they're all doing their own thing in separate, and you're in control over the little finer details. So that's the kind of stuff that we're going to be adding into the BrowSEO IA module over the coming months, and also open to any suggestions as well on how, if you guys have come up with any other ideas on how, we can, make the automation a little bit more organized, because that's what we're looking to do right now. We released it on a very broad, so it just works, and now it definitely works. We haven't found any bugs or issues, so now we're ready to bring it to a much more to fine tune it, we can say. So we're looking to really fine tune it now, which is where we're
Yeah.
heading.
I think it's cool. I think it's probably one of the better things you guys have added to it in a while. Um,
Yeah,
just you just
yeah,
just
thanks.
messing with it and breaking stuff is kind of neat.
Yeah, yeah,
Let me
yeah.
get back to the VA and the project sync. How does that work?
Okay.
Can
It's
you
a
get back
matter
to
of
that?
your. Hmm?
Go ahead.
That all happens in BrowSEO Task Force. So you have two ways to sync. You have the project sync in here, where you view everything, and then you actually have in here, just from the users, you can do a sync like this, send project. So you can just send it in that way. So it opens up, and then whatever projects you click, right, this project's open. Right, so there. So basically, it syncs all the cookies, the cache, and you're in control of what you're syncing. Um, So if you have new accounts or your VAs have created accounts, you're going to want them to send the cache back over to you, um, and sync everything so that you have all of the data that was originally used. So that you have that fingerprint that they're looking for, the good fingerprint. And then everything else in here, the stuff that has been created when you gave them that license. So you have the RSS feeds, FB Conversio data, the SEO links up here. So you can basically sync all the data that you have in these files, in these folders. FB Conversio, you could do a bit of research, show them which pages you want to. I don't have anything in here. I didn't save them. Show them which fan pages you want to interact with, and sync that data and let them go and interact with those fan pages. So it's really there to just to help you sync stuff between you all. Any kind of everything from the cookies and the cache and the project information between you and your users. And then the project sync here just gives you a breakdown of everything that was synced, right? So as soon as it's done, you just delete everything, right? And you can keep it up here if it hasn't been downloaded properly. So you can download, and as soon as you're downloading it from here, because you'll get the trees and everything appear over here, and then as soon as you download that to your BrowSEO, it'll still be here. So you can double check in BrowSEO whether or not it's come down properly, and then select everything, and then just delete selected. So I mean, that's how. I mean, it'll be straightforward. Once you start using it, you'll see it's fairly straightforward. Just get stuck in and use it. You'll see that once you start transferring stuff, you'll see the trees appear over here, and just download, delete, and move on. It's just a duplication of the trees that you're going to have over here in BrowSEO, is what you have here on the left, right?
So best practices for a work style is if you are changing something that your VAs don't have, push that out and tell them to pull it, and then maybe like at the end of the day have your VAs send all that stuff to you so it's all synced on your copy of BrowSEO.
Yeah, yeah. So that's right. That's all
Okay.
you need to do. It's for syncing mostly passwords, usernames. You've created the cookies and the cache. You probably got it on your system, so you probably only need to sync, the username, password, and some cache, and the first time, and then, once they've done whatever it is that they're doing, as long as they're, whether even if they're logged in on their browser, you can log in on your browser because you're all using the same cookies and the same proxy, same IP, same cache, same system, and
Mhm.
I don't think you need to. I mean, I don't normally bother syncing the cookies and the cache every single time because once it's created on mine, it's sent over to them. They have all the same information. I just need to log back into my browser. You don't really need to go syncing backwards and forwards all the time after you've done that first sync. So you
Okay.
don't need every bit of the cache there. You know what I mean?
So maybe like if you're just adding new accounts or whatever, then go ahead and redo it. But otherwise, you're good to go.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, you don't need to do it every single time. I don't do it every single time. I would just do it first once or twice, make sure the accounts are strong. They've got, you've set up some images, done liked a few things, and yeah, that's it. You don't have to worry so much about cookies and cache because they get deleted regularly, don't they?
Yeah.
And at least over here you have, cookies and cache. I haven't seen any issues with that at all. I mean, I'm wondering, does it create a totally separate, a different cookie, even though it's the same exact environment, but it's because it's in browser on another system? I don't know. I don't think so. I haven't found that there's a need for always syncing the cache. It's up to you, but I haven't found you always have to do it.
Okay. Um, let's see. Brian did that video for Loop Video and kind of highlighted one cool feature that I think I use a lot, and that's the SEO tab.
Yeah, yeah,
So let's let's say you have a link in there, And what is the difference, first off, of clicking the system and then the BrowSEO um, when you right-click the
Uh,
link? You know what I'm talking about? You can either open
yeah,
it in a
okay. So
system
it's
link.
this like this, you mean? When you do
Yeah.
right click?
So you have
So
the project
this will
Firefox, and then
yeah
the
that
other
will
one.
yeah, one is the Chrome and one is Firefox. So you can open them up in different browsers just to make it even more natural. So you can open one in one browser, one in the other browser. But here's actually an awesome 1-2 step that you can use to add, which is exactly why I like this whole loop video thing, because this is what I've been doing. Um, I've been taking the YouTube URL and going into the YouTube URLer, right? And then I should do it right now. Let me just do it right now. So we'll go in and we'll grab a YouTube. Now I'm getting carried away, aren't I?
No, you're good.
But okay, so it's actually a really, I've been seeing some really, really good results with this. Is why I want to show you. Um, and if someone's got a brand new video they've just uploaded, you want to drop it, and I'll do it with that. You know, just as it'll work as long as it's not crazy competition, right? So I'm just going to do the demo, show you the steps that I'm going to do. I would upload a video as soon as it's been uploaded. What I'm waiting. I go to get the link. Let me just wait for this link to appear here. Once it's loaded, there's the link. Okay, then I put that into the YouTube URLer. I get all the variations there. It's about 77 variations, but these are just YouTube variations, right? Loop video embeds it onto a whole bunch of different URLs and gives a few YouTube variations. So you can actually use this and that. And then I will index these URLs, stick them in the indexer. I'm not going to use them right now because it's just some whatever random video. And I would do all of them straight into the indexer. And then I would forget about these images and come and grab all of these, and I would go into the SEO module and let me add some projects. Have you noticed how we've cleaned this up with the add projects?
Yeah, it's a lot smoother, and I can get through it a lot quicker.
Yeah, oh my God, it was absolutely a horror show last the way we've been dealing with it. My God. But so okay, so here it is, and then I'm just gonna pick. Actually, no, there's too many in there. Um, where's that? It's the demo. Okay, we'll just use all of these ones here. That's the demo one. Okay, so we've just added these here, and what I've done there is I just added the demo accounts that I've got here on the side, right?
Hmm.
And let me just clear these links, and now add links, and I'm just going to paste all these URLs. You don't have to do name URL, it works it out, but you can if you want to. Just paste the URL straight in. Okay, go to all of them. So now I've got 72 URL variations in each one. So right now, what's happened was I've just uploaded a video, right? Took the URL video that was just uploaded and got 77 variations. I took those 77 variations and I indexed it. And while I'm indexing it, there's all this stuff going on in the background, and they're pinging it and whatever they're embedding it and sticking it on whatever they're sticking it on. I have no idea what all these things are doing all the time. RSS feeds and creating other things and whatever. And it's doing all of that, and it's sending out signals somehow. Their pings, Google is seeing this little bit of interaction on these URLs. Now, the next thing they're going to want to see are views, and they're waiting to see views. And 9 times out of the 10, when I come here and do the views, it not only turns up in like the first page of YouTube, unless it's a medium to high competition keyword, then it's going to be on page 2 or 3 or 4, and will work its way up to page 2, and then a couple of embeds you're on page 1. But it gets indexed in Google every single time. It appears almost on the first page of um, Google for certain terms. So I have a little case study that I did for an affiliate term, just a brand keyword, Rage DNA, and it was just so that's not it. But it's here. Here are the videos, and I haven't done anything, but it indexed. So we've got this one. and that one. And these were just put up like a month or two ago on the same day or maybe like a day apart. And it just got to the same spot. I did nothing with it and it's just been there ever since. And it just needs a few more embeds, maybe a couple of backlinks, and it's going to get to #1 very, very easily, and it'll take over this spot. I mean, there are even a few, I've seen it even appear a few times on page 1 already, depending on the IP. But and there you go. So Rage DNA review, it's #2 and 3. Two crappy videos, and that's all I did, right? So the loop video is exactly that, and the addition was basically, you know, just using the SEO module to view those videos and get a bit of natural crowd searching going on. And I know that stuff works for getting videos indexed in Google very, very quickly, as you can see here. This was literally within minutes. It got these spots, and it just stayed there ever since. Haven't really done anything to it since then, and it's been there for like 2 months. So yeah, anyway, so it's a good combination. They want to see all of that happening, and it sets you up in a perfect way to just start getting real embeds and, you know, using maybe a couple of gigs here and there, or if you've got places where you can go and get mass embeds, you know, or lots of programs or lots of places within BrowSEO. I mean, if you just use BrowSEO really to get embeds. It's, you know, there's so many different ways to do it. So it's, you know, just a great little way to use the YouTube URLer and the indexer and the SEO module. And you right click and then you just view the videos, right? So you're viewing them like that on the different URLs that you just indexed, right? And it's going to be appearing on in different ways. You see what I'm saying? You index these 72 URLs, and now you're going to go and you're going to show YouTube that all these URLs are being viewed. Hold on. Anyway.
When you were
yeah,
like on that one right there.
anyway, yeah.
Sorry. And you have
Yeah.
those share buttons up top. Is that, do you have to be logged in on the Chrome browser or the Firefox browser for those to work?
Yeah, so this is basically, this is just the Chrome. This is only for Chrome. So this is for if you're logged into Chrome, and the other one is if you're logged into Firefox. But Firefox is better because you can also log in from there in the way that it's set up here. So
Oh,
each
okay.
Firefox SEO module, you have the same share options there. Plus, you have the auto form filler and the CP on top, and the iMacros built in. So you've got all of those options in the SEO module as well for each one. But you could do a very similar thing. Oops. You could do a very similar thing to the using the BrowSEO IA module as well. So there are macros as well that you can create, so you don't actually have to go and do the right click and open up the URL. So this is the kind of stuff that we're doing. Oh, 1 second, hold on. Just log out of this. Okay, so we have where was I?
You're going to go over using the BrowSEO IA.
BrowSEO IA. Okay, yeah. So listen, you can have macros created that just go and do exactly this, right? So you can have macros that go, and like I've got one here created that just goes to the URL. So you can have a YouTube URL in here. Where's that YouTube? Oops, don't want all of those. But you can then, in essence, do that when we come out with the update with all these URLs, right? And then it'll go and you can add in as many projects as you want, and it'll go and open up each one on each project, right? So if you've got 77 URLs here, and you import 77 projects, it'll go one project for each URL. So you're going to have a much better, it's just a much easier way to just get it all out there, and you don't have to go right-clicking, opening everything up. The only thing is, it's all going to be Firefox, which is whatever, it's fine. We'll also get to adding the iMacros into Chrome in the future, but for now, in the foreseeable, it's only going to be in Firefox.
I think it worked better in Firefox anyway. I use the original iMacros program, and I use it only in Firefox. Chrome is a pain.
Firefox, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so So you see, so this is how this could work. This is already there. This you can go to, and then it'll just open up all of those things and just auto play that script and auto play that for you, in that way. So just open all of these up like that, and it's going to go to that YouTube URL. I'm going to close that before it drains my bandwidth.
And while he's doing
But that's
that,
what it'll do.
Brian gave out that he's got one iMacro that Brian did for his bonus for LootVid. If you guys want to look into LootVid too, check out Brian's bonus, and you get add a macro, which essentially does what he just showed there. But it's
Yeah,
specifically designed so you can play with the times and everything for the video length and all that stuff too. So.
yeah, that's right. And as soon as we come out with the update over the next week or two, um, where we'll have a little bit more control in here, you'll also be able to use it in that way where it'll just go, you just load up a whole bunch of all the variations here and 15 accounts, and it'll go and just click run, and each account will pick one URL, and you're done, and it'll just go and do it all instantly like that and send all the right signals, crowd searching, the views, different IPs, and yeah, that's how that's going to work. It's going to be very good. I'm looking forward to that one personally because I'm starting to really scale up here, and I need to start having it a little bit more segmented myself now within BrowSEO. So I'm looking personally to that. Okay.
And then I only really had, I think the other one is probably the like people that I see in other groups and stuff that I'm helping out with using BrowSEO or suggesting ways to use it is the Publish Hub.
Yeah. How do you ways to use Publish Hub?
Yeah, like
Okay. Well,
I
Publish
know
Hub.
how like the video is already there on the YouTube channel for adding your like a WordPress.com as your PBN
Yeah.
versus your mini site and all that stuff. But how?
What
It's
what we're
another way to
doing
do
right now. What we're doing right now is we're adding like 60 or so if this then that recipes courtesy of Semantic Mastery, and it's basically their scripts. They've given us permission to use it. They've all created them, and you just literally you're going to need to just press a couple of buttons. You have like 60 recipes created, and you take the WordPress URLs, the WordPress RSS feeds that you've created, WordPress.com Tier 2, your own money site RSS feeds, and you'll add those into the iMacro while it's connecting them all so that if this then that is connected to the right recipes, and then we use this hub to do that one post via WordPress that's going to syndicate out to your entire if this then that network. So you can do that. I mean, you don't have to use if this then that, whatever it is that you're using. I mean, this is your hub for every single site that you want to post to that's connected to your projects here. So this is your hub. Every project that you have here on the left-hand side, this is going to have all of your PBNs, and this is your money vaults, your money sites. So the difference is, and the reason why we have it segmented is because when you create an account here, as you probably know, but I might as well show you very quickly, when you create an account, when you first sign up, you have WordPress, you have Vault PBN and Money Site. So if you put your domain in here into the web address and click Vault PBN or Money Site, depending on what you've clicked, it's going to appear here. So if you click Vault PBN, it'll appear here. So you'll be able to access it from here, and I'll show you. So we'll do just refresh. Might take a while because there's a lot in there. These are WordPress, and what's really cool about this is that they're all WordPress, but they're all each going to be posting from a totally separate IP, exactly like you're posting from within your project. So it tunnels it through the IP and the cookies and the cache and everything using the WordPress API. So here, for example, copy the link. It'll show you where the projects are. So if you want to go back to the project, go find it, give you a bit of an idea. So that what's in parentheses is the project. So you have that reference if you ever have to get back to it. But the reason why we've connected it like that is we've got here, let's say if we look at the money vault, and we've got this one as a demo. It's an awesome demo. You should check out that site. It's so ugly and it's ranking, and it's taking. It's like people. It's ranking there for $25 clicks, and I have no AdSense on it, and I'm just an idiot. But I have to do something with that. It's been there for a year, right? So the reason that, and the way it's connected is all you have to do is make sure that when you're signing up, when you're opening up a profile, that you fill this out. And if you do that and you put the domain here, it'll appear here. And according to what you've ticked it as, it's going to track your anchor texts. And I haven't seen this anywhere else. And you have to do absolutely nothing except for use Publish Hub to post. And we do here, we click on the money site, so we do get backlink history. And it'll show you the links, and it'll show you the places where the links are, and it'll show you the anchor texts. But this is just the export format, so we have a chart that you can use, and it will show you the exact percentage, your exact percentage of anchors, so that you never over optimize, and you have to do absolutely nothing except for use Publish Hub to post, and it automatically generates this for you, as long as you've just, when you've signed up, allocated either Vault, PBN, or money site, and this automatically happens. So when you're posting from a money site to a PBN, it's going to track everything for you here, so that you know exactly what keywords you've been using. It'll give you the exact ratio, so you never over optimize, and you always have the right anchor text ratio. That's awesome. I love that.
That is very cool.
Yeah,
I
so
just
that's
used it
how
for
I
the
use Publish
PBN
Hub.
stuff,
That's
so I
what
never even
Publish Hub
checked
is.
that.
What?
I just used it for the PBN stuff, so I never even checked that.
Yeah, yeah. So as long as you're filling in your money sites and your Vault PBN and you're ticking them right, go check out, right click, look at your backlink history, and it will show you exactly that, the diagram. And if you have, you can actually add as well if you have what everyone uses, which is either a text file or an Excel spreadsheet. You can add them if you really want to, so that you can continue to monitor your history if that's what you've got. I think there's a way to import them as well. Um, but yeah, so that's Publish Hub. Total control here. I mean, listen, you've got. I know. I mean, it's in the video, but just to reiterate that everything is spinnable, right? So you really need to. You should. If you're not using Publish Hub, you're really not getting the most out of BrowSEO, because you have absolute control, exactly like you're in your WordPress blog, exactly everything, even more, because you can spin stuff here, and in WordPress you can't. So you can post with your categories, you can create categories, post with your tags, you can add tags, featured image, you can spin your featured image, you can use excerpts, you can spin your excerpts. You can decide on the publishing date, and then you can literally use the spinner um, to to um, to publish stuff for the future as well. It's a little bit complicated using it in that way. I mean, it's just a matter of getting the dates right and having the amount of blogs that you're posting to and the numbers that you're posting to set up correctly. I'm not going to go through that right now because it's probably going to be a little bit too boring and technical. But the main thing to know is that you should be using it not just for this mass posting. I mean, that's all great and everything, but I mean, how often do you post to WordPress, and how often do you find it being a pain and having to log into WordPress, even using WordPress, even using BrowSEO, but you have it all organized in Publish Hub, and it's exactly like you would be logging in, total control. Just make sure you're setting them up and putting them into the right folders, and use Publish Hub for everything. Whenever you're posting, use Publish Hub. You can spin your video tags, spin the videos in here, add links here. You can add like 10 video links, and each time you post, it'll post another video, or just add one video. So you've got a total absolute control. It's exactly like you're posting from your WordPress blog. Use Publish Hub. You'll get a lot more done, a lot more posting.
Cool. All right, I'm gonna get to some of the questions that everyone else had now.
Okay.
Ian Pritchard had one. Is there a way to bulk create profiles? So I'm thinking that he's kind of thinking along the lines of making an Excel spreadsheet with all of the profile information and then upload it, and ta-da, it adds it.
Yeah, this is what I've done here. So this is like something that I've just created and been working on. Is I've got this folder with hundreds of profiles in there, and it's kind of like crowd search, but I'm calling it you search because you just need to do it. So, all I did was fake name generator and grabbed the fields that I wanted to use, and it was just name, password, address, date of birth. That's it, and then literally just used the dynamic importer, and you just import straight in there and import, and that's it. It will show you, it will import automatically with all of the fields, and you just pick what the right fields are, so you don't need to worry about making sure that you've got anything in order. If there is no order, you make the order, you just import it, and then choose what you're using. So you need a bare minimum of a project name, and an IP, of course, and that's it, really. You don't need anything else other than a project name and an IP if you just want to create crowd searching profiles. So there's a lot of solutions. You can have IPs with different, that backwards connect IPs kind of thing, So you could just add the same IPs and have a special folder that you just have those backwards connect IPs so that they're changing every 10 minutes or whatever it is. And you're using those within the SEO module, and you're always having new IPs for that, so it's always got new, fresh people. And even when, and then they start to build their own little bit of cache, and you come back to it, and they seem like even a real user, but there's no actual accounts connected to it. It's just like a regular person just logging into some internet with no, just browsing, YouTube with no account is basically what it would be like. So that's that's how I've imported all these. So you just use a dynamic importer. It's perfect for anything really. Yeah.
Dave Thomas had a question about do you and um, uninstalling an old version and reinstalling a new one, or just installing it right over the top?
Just right over the top.
Okay, that's what I do too. It's
Yeah.
I tried it the other way and it's just a headache, so I just do right over the top.
Yeah. Yeah.
Valerie asked if there's a macro to watch the videos. Valerie, there is one in there now, right? It's the open page one that she can use, and then the one that
Actually,
Brian.
that's not in there. That was just something I created. I will somehow I'll get that out to you guys. I think Brian may have something like that he shared that might even be a bit better than this one. Whatever, I'll work it out and we'll get that to you.
Yeah.
But I think, yeah, no, his might be a little bit different specifically for that one. This is just any page will open. And you can put
Yeah,
a
I use
YouTube.
Brian's. Brian gave one away as his bonus for Loop Video. Loop Video is not
Right.
very expensive, so if anything, you're paying him for his work to make that macro, then I think it's worth it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Um, Questions. Oh, there it is. What's a backwards IP? It's just an IP. They all look the same, and they just switch the IP on the back end using different, just the back. I don't know the technology that is, how it's done exactly, but you have one. It looks like the same IP the whole time to you, but it's actually not. It's a different IP
Yeah,
getting
it's
switched out.
Blazing proxies kind of works along the same lines. You get an IP address, if the IP, and then essentially you're running on another IP address for those back connect ones. And if that one dies or you want it rotated or whatever, that all happens out of your view in the background, and you essentially have the same IP number. So,
Yeah.
Kendrick had a question. Do you use a unique IP for every one of your profiles?
I have. I generally it works out, yes, that I do because I'm not hitting all of them over the same day or days or weeks. So I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of IPs and I guess a good few thousand accounts in here. But I'm not using them all enough to like send any flags. So I could very well go a month with literally only one IP per account because of the amount of IPs that I have myself anyway. But I always suggest using having as many IPs as you possibly can if you can. Depends on what you're doing and how competitive your market is, your niche is, what you're doing. I mean, it's really depending on your own personal circumstances, really. Um, but you can get away with 2 to 3 IPs. The projects creating accounts on the same IPs. It's totally normal as well. I just I just have, I guess, probably too many IPs, so I like to keep it as least as possible on IPs personally.
Yeah,
Um,
I have 400. I run probably 2,000 Twitter accounts on those 400. So you kind of
yeah,
do the math there. I never suggest go more than 10 for Twitter. Facebook, you can kind of get away with 2 or 3 accounts per proxy, so it's not really that big of a deal.
yeah. Someone wants to know if Publish Hub. Oh, Dave, Publish Hub is not going to conflict with SendWire at all. It's got nothing to do with it whatsoever. It's just posting to WordPress using the WordPress API. And no, Valerie, you don't have to be logged into WordPress using Publish Hub. It uses the API connection, but it's using the API connection via the proxy provided, which is very important to know um, that you can post to 100 WordPress.com blogs at the same time. So if you want 100 embeds, you can do that with one post. If you've got tier twos and you want to just do a post and get a spun title and spun post and spin out your embed codes in there and do one quick press one button, that'll go out to 100 different WordPress.com blogs at the same time. Well, it'll be a little bit of a post because it's literally going to post to 100 blogs, so it'll probably take 15 minutes or so to post to them, especially if you're uploading images. So it'll upload images, and so which yeah, there's nothing else that really does that, especially from the desktop. So you can it's all on each IP.
And then let's see, Joseph, question about creating PBNs with BrowSEO, like some good training to use. I'll go ahead and say it now. I would start with Semantic Mastery's IFTT training because essentially you are creating a private blog network using those free accounts, and they're not
Yeah,
really expensive to. And so if you mess it up, then it's all right because you can just delete them and start over. And
yeah,
then if you're using like expired domains and all that other stuff, the SERP Focus, that if you go to that blog, he's got a new training course coming out. Or Chris Winters, he's got
yeah.
one on creating expired domain PBNs too. Simon, you have any recommendations?
Those are perfect. I was going to mention Chris. Yeah, so that's perfect.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Kendrick recommended IP authenticated providers. I already mentioned Blazing. I don't know who you use, Simon.
I've got a few different that I use, and each time I guess I find that I mean, these are all, I guess, BrowSEO users, but I mean, you know what I do? You know what I suggest is the best thing to do is to just try. I mean, blazing proxies I've used and have and use, and I have a whole bunch of different providers. I don't want to recommend one. I would recommend having more than one, and I would recommend going to even Black Hat forums and looking and seeing the proxy providers that they provide, because they have so many really good, high quality providers just promoting their stuff and giving you great deals on the Black Hat forums as well. So, just get a subscription with Blazing Proxies, get a subscription with um, other kind of proxy providers. Buy proxies, I have to say, I've been going a little bit downhill. I don't have a subscription with them anymore. But I heard that they've been getting a little bit better again. I don't know. I was with them for years and then had really bad experience with them for months and months and months, and I just prompted me to go and create that Amazon solution, But that I don't even use so much because it's good to have if I need to do some really powerful stuff with BrowSEO, uploading lots of videos and what have you. But other than that, I just tend to use really good proxy providers that I just find and I'm always testing out. So I don't want to recommend one because, like I said, and Susan I can recommend because I know she has a great pool there and I've had some good results. I've only had good stuff from Susan, so yeah, that's who I would recommend. I don't know really. Other than that, just go and search for it and search for yourselves, and you'll find so many different providers out there, and just test them out. Take a small 10, try 5 or 10, and see what they're like. You'll find some diamonds out there.
Yeah, I use bi proxies, split proxies, any proxies. It just depends on what you're using and how much BS you really want to deal with. So I landed on Neil. It just kind of worked out that way, and I've been using him ever since, it pretty much exclusively. So
Yeah.
probably the last question, since we've hit our mark, our time mark, is can Publish Hub post to other platforms other than WordPress.com, i.e. Tumblr and
Uh,
others?
as of now, Publish Hub hosts to WordPress.com, self-hosted WordPress, and Drupal. You need to have a special Drupal plugin for it to work, but it works. The option is there when you create a profile. See, Drupal. So you can have a Drupal or WordPress and have the same option there. I just use WordPress to tell you the truth. I have a few Drupals here and there, but we're going to be adding LiveJournal and Blogger and a few other platforms. I don't think Tumblr is going to get added to this one, but we are going to be adding quite a few, and those are definitely in the works. And we have already started, and we have very bare bones integration with. It's very similar to a few old blogging platforms like the Meta, the Web. I can't remember what they're called, but it supports quite a few blogging platforms. I don't think it supports Tumblr, but in all there will be about 7 to 12 different blogging platforms that it will support when we're done with it over the coming months. But right now, it's just WordPress and Drupal. And it is going to be months away, but it's definitely coming. Definitely coming. We're just bringing on a few other developers right now to help with that, so hopefully it'll be sooner than later.
All right, awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's close this out. You, with the announcement of the you were talking about in Skype before we started, and we were going through this mess
Oh
of the
yeah, we
software that
just
we're.
because it was literally a few minutes before we got on the webinar, I just finished testing our new light version. So for people who don't have BrowSEO, if you have BrowSEO, you don't really need this. I mean, you get access to it, you know, but you don't need it. And it's basically a browser, a persona manager. So if you just want a persona manager, you will be able to, if you don't yet have BrowSEO, you'll be able to get access to that. We're going to be giving away a free version where you can have a couple of personas in there. But then there will be a paid version, which we're going to be coming out with, very nominal fee, and it will have unlimited profiles. But it will just be literally a persona manager, exactly without any of the options that you see here, just everything on the side and nothing on the top here, just a persona manager, which is actually going to be very useful because a lot of people have been asking us about it that don't have BrowSEO, that are just looking for a way to manage their personas. So yeah, so that's also one of the reasons why we're going to be we're going to be launching that. We have been asking people on mailing out some. We've had a few surveys sent out, and this was one of the things that a few people had asked for was just and they didn't have BrowSEO yet, and it's a little bit of a jump, especially if you don't understand the potential of what's there. So you know, just to sort of give you a feel for what's going on, is you can use it to manage your personas if you don't yet have it. But if you do get it, you'll probably end up having to get BrowSEO because you'll just fall in love with it.
I guess
Yeah,
one
but
maybe
that's
one
cool.
feature.
That's soon.
I don't
What?
know if you guys can do it or not. This is probably a challenge for your brother. Maybe I'll just throw
What's
this out.
that?
I'll just throw this challenge out there now.
Uh-huh.
What if, like, is there a way for BrowSEO, if I publish on, let's say I publish on the IFTT network, is there a way, like a software that will pull in the posts that were published, like the last post published kind of thing, so that I can start backlinking those URLs?
I
Just
have been
something to
thinking
think of.
about ways to do that, and I'm not quite sure. I'd love to have maybe a discussion in the group about how to best do this because it would be the same way. So we would need to save the URLs. I guess I could think about. I mean, I have been away. I think it's just there's too many different things that can go wrong in the process, but
Yeah.
it's not something new. I mean, we have been looking into this, so yeah, we're gonna. look into ways, further look into ways how we can do that. But it's not the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, there was a tool that did it, backlink commando, and basically you just get it all. It's your RSS feeds, and then it told you the last one that you did. So I don't think it really has to be.
Yeah, because but it doesn't. It's not gonna. It's gonna get you all of the what from if this then that. If the data is there on if this then that.
No, it's on the so if this then that posts onto WordPress.com for instance, and then what backlink commando was able to do was pull that last entry from the RSS feed, and then it worked on indexing those things.
Right. Yeah, that would be cool if you could work out how to do that.
Yeah, I'll make a video and kind of challenge you guys, see if you can figure that out. That'd be pretty awesome.
All right.
That'll go work. That'll add be perfect with the with your manager software. Just throwing
Yeah,
that.
sounds
Yeah.
good. We'll give it a go. I would definitely like to get those to get access to those links and just index them and for sure.
All right, Simon. Thank you very much for taking the time to come help us out with this webinar one. We just discussed a lot of basic stuff. Hopefully,
Mhm.
kind of put to bed a lot of the questions that new people with the software were having on how to like actually use it. And I
Mhm.
appreciate you taking the time with us, regardless of all the technical issues we had in the beginning.
Pleasure, no problem.
And folks, thank you very much for coming. I'll make the recording with GoToWebinar and either put it on my YouTube channel and I'll also put it in Simon's group. So
Awesome.
thank you very much.
All right, cool, nice one. Thanks, Clint. And guys, see you in the group. I'm still here, aren't I?